Prime Minister says the government is fighting terrorism in parallel with securing citizens' basic needs. Syrian Arab Army units continue in cleaning up operations against terrorist dens in several provinces. And Western political analysts say that the policies of Justice and Development Party that support terrorists in Syria led to the emergence of ISIS. Good afternoon. Welcome to our news bulletin. I'm Dania Nizam. The People Assembly held its first session of the fourth exceptional session of the first legislative round, headed by Assembly Speaker Mohammed Jihad al-Laham, in which the ministerial statement of the new government discusses the working schedule for the coming stage. Al-Laham stressed that the American and Western efforts to form an international alliance against the Security Council laws and regulations to fight ISIS terrorist organization do not indicate an honest and true will to fight it, due to the fact that the countries joined such alliance are the same states that support terrorists in Syria. He stressed that those who want to fight terrorism should cooperate with Syria and work under long-term plans, not by supporting terrorist organizations under false slogans. The Assembly Speaker pointed out that the Syrian Arab Army confronted terrorism as it deserves all appreciation. Laham also indicated that the stage Syria is going through requires high responsibility to face the challenges. Prime Minister Wael Halaqi stressed during the discussion of the ministerial statement of the new government at the People's Assembly that the war on Syria targets the economical, political, security and developmental levels to drain the resources of the state and society. Al-Halaqi asserted that the government continues in fighting terrorism in parallel with the diplomatic efforts to uncover the reality of terrorism and to defend Syria's sovereignty, independence and national decision. Al-Halaqi said that the government continues in securing the basic citizens' needs, such as health and educational services, as it supports the social fund to ease the impact of the crisis and the terrorist crimes on citizens. The Premier added that the national reconciliation requires teamwork, spirit to restore peace and security to the homeland. Syria warns of the possibility that some regional and international sides will support the armed terrorist organizations with chemical weapons to use it against our people, and accuses the Syrian Arab Army with it for the aim of launching an aggression against Syria and its people. The Foreign and Ex-Patriots Ministry said in a statement that Syria did its obligations by joining the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons treaty and became free of such weapons, especially after the full cooperation with the Joint Mission for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons and the United Nations. As Syria and the international community reject such pretexts, and Syria stresses as well on fighting terrorism, putting pressures on its supporters for peace and security in the region and the world. Syrian Arab Army units have made a sweeping progress in Adr al-Balad town in eastern Ghouta in a wide-scale military campaign launched against dens of the terrorist organizations in the town. Other army units have killed or wounded scores of the terrorists in a series of operations in al-Dakhaniye, Ain Tarma Valley, Jobar, Harasta, Douma, al-Qassamiya farms and al-Bahariya in Damascus countryside. In Daraa countryside, army units in cooperation with the locals have foiled terrorists' attempts to attack the northern and western neighborhoods in Busra Sham. In Homs countryside, army units have targeted terrorists' gatherings in Talbisa and Hussein, Hosh Hajjo, killing or wounding tens of them and destroying their criminal tools. The Belgian newspaper L'Echo has said that the Belgian authorities have foiled attempts by the terrorists who have come back to Belgium after fighting in Syria along with the ISIS to launch many attacks. The newspaper added that about 400 persons who hold the Belgian nationality have been fighting along the terrorist organizations in Syria, and that 90 of them have come back to Belgium. The newspaper concluded by saying that the Belgian security forces have detained many people on charges of planning to launch attacks, without mentioning the sites that were supposedly to be attacked. In an interview with the German Rheinische Post newspaper, the head of the Federal Office for the Protection of the Constitution, Hans-Georg Maaßen, said that more than 24 German miners have headed for Syria and Iraq to join the terrorist organization ISIS, and that 5 of them have come back to Germany after they had acquired an experience by fighting along the terrorist organization. Maaßen pointed out that 4 German females were among those miners who joined ISIS. Iranian Speaker Ali Larijani has described the U.S.'s great interest in fighting the terrorist organization ISIS as ironical, because the American hegemony is closely related to terrorism in Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan and Pakistan. Larijani pointed out to the statements made lately by Sayyid Ali Khamenei that there was distrust vis-à-vis the American officials' remarks on combating terrorism. Executive editor of the American newspaper New York Times newspaper has said that Turkish president and his supporters were exercising pressure on the newspaper's correspondent in Istanbul after she published an article on recruiting terrorists in Turkey to fight along the terrorist organization ISIS. He pointed out that the Turkish authorities and some Turkish media outlets have launched a fierce campaign to intimidate the newspaper's correspondent, adding that she received thousands of letters threatening to kill her. And with this, we end our news for today. Thank you for watching us. For more details about Syria and the region, you can always view this bulletin again on our website in English, syriaonline.sy. After the break, it's our latest news with Vani on our economic and business news. Thank you for watching. God bless you and long live Syria.